Good morning and welcome to Differentiation for the Gifted Student. In this PowerPoint, I hope to help you find skills, strategies and different ways to help our gifted children, and possibly even what a gifted student looks like in your classroom, the future for the gifted, and at the very end you'll find some very useful resources. As we all know, gifted students will possess a high cognitive ability. They are extremely emotional as they experience and learn how to relate what they see and think about the real world. Their IQ test scores will be high. They may be good at math, science, language, the arts, all of them, or just one. Your student is going to be above average ability. They're going to be creative and probably committed to the end of the project or assignment. Many states have different accommodations, so if you're employed in a state that is not Florida, I do suggest that you look it up on your Department of Education website. Biggest question is what to do with them. In your class, you're going to find gifted students finishing assignments and tasks early, possibly far way ahead of any others. This can lead to disruption and boredom as the gifted child gets bored, and then they can become labelled as disruptive, which isn't their fault. It means that we as educators have to find ways to keep these children working, entertained, engaged and motivated to learn. As educators, we must learn to be patient. Just as you would with a lower learning student, gifted students may correct you before thinking of the consequences in front of the whole room, embarrassing not just them, but sometimes yourself. I'm not going to go over this slide in great depth, but the biggest thing we have to realise is that there is a multiple intelligence, multiple learning skills and different ways that these gifted kids are going to want to do things, see things and understand what they need. You're going to be dealing with emotions, you're going to be dealing with a lack of motivation to learn, you're going to be learning with disengagement at times, and this is something that we're going to have to recognise in our classrooms. What is differentiation? It is matching the content and subject or topic with that gifted student's interest, their ability, their learning style, and to do this we must use various strategies in with that patience that we have to start practicing. Why, I hear you ask, do we have to differentiate? You guys have enough to do as it is, but you're going to meet the individual needs of the learner. You're going to change the depth of understanding and go deeper for the gifted students, something which they emotionally need. We're going to use appropriate grouping and management strategies, and you will see growth and mastery of all the curricula across the way with your gifted students. I'm not going to make this a hands-on demonstration, but I want you to think of one gifted student in your room. What do you need? What do they need to continue mastery of the subject and continue learning? What can you as the educator do to meet their need, their learning style and their interest? And how can you differentiate what you're teaching to meet all the needs of that student and others in your room? They're going to be all different. One strategy is curriculum compacting, and it's exactly what it says. You're going to take the curriculum, make it into smaller chunks that include enrichment activities for the gifted, and remove the parts that they've already mastered. Basically, name the area, prove it needs compacting, and then change it. Allow gifted students to research the topic and present their findings so they can prove to you their understanding and mastery. Research has found that when 40 to 50% of regular curriculum is eliminated, gifted students can flourish. Okay, here's just one example. Johnny has mastered decimals in math. He's scoring 85% or higher on the pre-test. So the deal is he works with the class on days we have a skill not mastered, and on alternate days he will work on the math enrichment activities when we're just doing decimals. I keep saying enrichment. Enrichment is independent project-based learning. You build upon the individual's interests. You're going to allow development of their research skills and their planning skills. You're going to allow complex and in-depth work in a media of their choice. Let them use the computer, and this will keep your students highly motivated and engaged throughout instruction and beyond. One example, although enrichment is not really a strategy on its own, when you combine it with everything else that you will see and hear, you will find it's going to help you to begin to add enrichment to all your lesson plans. An example for a gifted child would be writing a different ending to a story. Another strategy is acceleration. Same subject, different literature, different research, different level of reading. In math, challenge students to do certain questions, allowing them free time to study a fact or operation of math that interests them, maybe even career orientated. Let them think about what they want to do when they leave school, design, architect, engineering. Maybe as a team you're going to get them to skip a grade or skip a grade in one subject only. An example of acceleration is early entry to school. Maybe your toddler is a whiz. They can skip a grade, skip a subject, go from 5th grade to 6th grade in language arts if they're proving to be beyond their years, and then they can even aim at early admission to college. One big strategy is to get higher order thinking and questioning into your lessons. Use open-ended questions. Ask why all the time. Every time they answer something, ask why do they think that. Create a connection to the curriculum through personal experience or research. If they've already done it or are going to do it or possibly want to look into it, they're going to learn more. They're going to be interested. They're going to be motivated, engaged, and expand their learning. Examples of higher order. Discuss the pros and cons of something. How can you classify this according to that? How can you compare the different parts of this? How can you sort the parts of that? How is this connected to that? Ask why, ask how. Rather than the who, what, where, when, start to ask who, what, where, when, how, but why. The biggest strategy in your gifted learning class is the use of cooperative learning groups. You can group your students into ability, learning needs, learning techniques, ideas, and allow challenge of the development of the complexity, open-endedness of ideas and opinion, and abstractness. Also helps them with social awareness and interaction with others. Some of these kids are not going to want to work with others, so get them going, make them a team leader, get them all discussing who does what, why, and when. The example for this, put your team together, meet twice a week. Lesson structure, guided reading and or skills. What are you looking at in reading? What are you going to be looking at in math? I've just put an example up here. Do a small group lesson at the teacher-led centre and then do an independent study student activity. Let them go away, work it out, find something, let them actually enjoy and find what it is that you're wanting them to learn. Another strategy is independent research. Allow your students to research a topic of their choice. Keep their enthusiasm high. Just facilitate them. Do not instruct them in their research. Use it to keep on task when they have finished work and everybody else is still working. But use a contract. Say to them, when you finish all of this and I'm satisfied, you can go and do that. Allow presentation of their research in their own choice of media and allow them to present it to the whole class because, as we all know, kids learn best from kids. Your example of this, students will always pick a topic that interests them. Form a question and a hypothesis so that they will begin to research their topic. Does listening improve my test scores? Ask them to think of their own question in what it is that they want to research and what the hypothesis is and what their research finally gives them. Another strategy can be finding a mentor for them. After school, maybe at weekends, community-based activities are always engaging for gifted students. Get their parents to help them with an activity at home that they can then bring in and show everyone. Maybe give them online learning programs. Give them a subject that they do online through Florida Virtual. There are summer camps. Find somebody with the same interest or career that the student wants to do when they leave school and ask them to speak and help the child to investigate that career. Jessica wishes to become a forensic profiler. Her parents are totally lost, so her gifted teacher suggests speaking to the police or a hospital to see if there's a forensic examiner or a coroner that will perhaps talk to her and maybe even allow them a day's shadowing. I actually picked this name and this child because this is my daughter and I have no idea what to do with her. Give alternate choice. As this slide tells us from Harry Potter, it's the choices that show what we truly are, far more than our abilities. Give choice of media. If they want to use the computer, let them choose the program they use. Be flexible to their ideas, listen and talk it over with them. Let them have their opinion, have your opinion, but maybe meet in the middle. Allow lessons to be flexible. Allow presentation differentiation. Let them retell you it. Let them use technology. Let them make a skit. Maybe they need to get their whole group in on this one. Maybe even a rap or music. Your example for choice is: the class have been given group assignments. They are each to decide who is to blame for the sinking of the Titanic. They're going to have to do research. The end result must be presented in a way that they believe suits the answer they come to. Maybe a skit, a podcast, PowerPoint or rap. The choice is yours, but please check in with your proposal so it can be approved. So teachers will ask them just to check in, say, oh, we want to do it this way, do you mind? Your gifted students need to work with and spend time with students of the same interests and abilities. Age has nothing to do with it. Gifted children will very often get on better with older peers. They need to think with people that think like they do. It's very important to remember when differentiating instruction, ensure it fits all the group. Research has shown gifted students benefit from small groups in enriched environments. So that pull-out gifted lesson is worth every hour that you get with them. We as educators have to learn co-teaching. The gifted teacher must work with the general education teacher. As a gifted teacher, never be afraid to ask for advice or help. Gifted is not just one day a week. You're going to have to share the responsibility of these students together. They're going to be in the general classroom at times, they're going to be in the gifted room at times, but they're going to be gifted wherever they are. You'll need to plan together, plan your enrichments together. Your classroom will appreciate it and so will your students. I've done a short list of resources here for you. You will all receive this PowerPoint in slide format, so don't worry about trying to rush and write this all down because you will get a copy. But if you just Google it, you're going to find tons of resources out there. There's going to be lessons that people have already done with gifted children. So perhaps if you're a new gifted teacher, work smarter, not harder.